How do you navigate through those difficult conversations and difficult leadership styles?
I always come in from a position of being very humble. Hey guys, you know much more about this organization than I do, so you're going to have to help me out here. And I always do introductions first, and I ask people what do they bring to the table and what's their ask from their colleagues around the table. Oh my goodness, that even those that don't want to play, once they get into this, and I also then make the rest of the people tell me what they heard. And I write the key points on a flip chart. It is so incredible when people are able to give informal, positive, affirmatory feedback to their colleagues in such an informal kind of way. And by the time we're halfway through that exercise, people can't wait to hear the next people do their introductions and whatnot. Then I get them to set their outcomes. I might say, look, okay, so management brought me in to talk to you, and they probably have a certain set of outcomes they want, but I want to know, what do you want from this series of workshops or from this change process? So it's getting ownership at the very beginning. And it's very hard for them to be defensive whenever I'm giving them that ownership. I think the other thing is that you have to understand why people feel afraid, concerned, anxious about any kind of intervention. And when we give them the chance to talk about that, as opposed to making assumptions. So I think those be the two things. I want them to get ownership from the very beginning. I don't make assumptions. I recognize that their needs and the executive team needs are likely to be different. And then I get them to help me find what that common ground is.
Mhm. Do you find that after a period of time that whatever you built during that workshop or during that consultation starts to deteriorate and then another boost needs to come back up? Like how long of a gap is there usually?
I think it depends on the group. It depends how bought in they are to whatever the process that we're doing. But I think relationships, you can never make assumptions about rapport. You
Mhm.
get rapport, then you have to keep checking you've still got rapport, which is exactly what you're talking about. And it's not just the group, it's that the group might be mostly with you, but you have to notice that, Fred's no longer connecting, or Susan seems to have switched off. So it's people move at different paces. So you have to be very tuned into the needs of all the different individuals in the group as well as the group as a whole. So if I feel that it's going off, especially if it's in a big group exercise, I nearly always break them up into small groups, because when you do that, you dilute that energy or whatever. You can sense it, can't you? I mean, you've done this too. You can sense it as somebody who's leading on an initiative. So I would tend to put them into smaller groups to do an exercise, and that usually helps to rebuild the energy. The other thing I do is I name it. Sometimes I just say, I'm sensing here that, you know, there's something, so why don't we talk about it?
Mhm.